And then I actually had a streaker run for me.
You had a streaker
Yes.
as in a naked person run for you.
Yes, yes. It's always dangerous doing some research on someone, but yes.
Yeah, it is. It is. I've actually put my name in there, and oh my gosh, I don't know where they get all that stuff from. I think I've been married 3 times. I've never been married in my life.
You can go and change Wikipedia, right? You can edit Wikipedia.
Apparently. But as I said, I have other skills. I'll have to get you or someone to do that. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll do a little countdown and then we'll start, all right?
100%.
All right, so 3, 2, 1. Oh my gosh, am I so excited today. I have literally one of my heroes on the podcast today. Natalie, welcome. Such a pleasure seeing you again. I remember the last time I saw you, we were opening up a Speedo store in I think Canal Walk it was?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Canal Walk was quite new on the scene as well. So I think, interesting. But yes, Speedo. Lots of memories within my swimming as well with Speedo.
Yes. I remember I was feeling quite proud of myself. I just finished the Robben Island swim, and I remember they sponsored me my South African Fuff Speedo, and so they invited, and obviously you were there. It was awesome. You've also done the Robben Island swim, haven't you?
I have. I've done it a number of times. I think around about 8 times, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
But purely for charity, so not actually like a race to race Robben Island.
Yes.
I find it difficult to do sport without having to do it for charity nowadays. So yes, I think for the good cause, and we actually started it for Vista Nova School in Cape Town, and the funds actually went to the Vista Nova School. So. We had quite a few sponsors that sponsored me to do the race, but the money went to the school. So
that's incredible.
That's what kept us going.
Yeah, that's incredible. I acknowledge you. Very, very cool. Very cool. So Natalie, you were born in Cape Town, and you started swimming internationally at like 14 years old, right?
Yes, so I started, I guess, swimming quite young. Well, it's quite old, but quite young. So I was 6. I think I went from absolutely disliking the water and going to use the word hate, which is quite a strong word.
No, I can relate. Was that the early morning swims in the dark before school? Those relentless laps. Oh no, I can detest. Those are just... that's why I take my hat off to you. I know you've done it as a career, but it can become relentless following that black line, right?
I think from my point of view, I think I loved it. And actually hearing someone like Cameron van der Berg speak as well and saying, it was for us, it was a way to let go of everything that was happening around us, for us to forget about the challenges, or actually literally plow in that energy into the water that you could just forget about things, and that's kind of where I dealt with a lot of issues in my head. Sure.
No, later on in my career I still swim now, but so it's I can completely relate to that. But as a young teenager, I just remember I wanted to get out of this cold pool and not get to school, actually get finished with school. But those laps in the morning were there was no spiritual context to it at all. It was just suffering and discipline, to be quite frank with you.
Yeah, I think we were still, I guess, fortunate, if I could say that, to grow up in an era where we didn't have heated swimming pools and things like that. We swam in the cold, outdoors at Newlands where the wind howled, 9-degree water. I now look at it and I think I was mad, but ultimately, it's, again, I think for us, fortunate that we had those opportunities.
Yes.
And that we didn't have the indoors where you struggle now with, teams being able to train, etc. So it was an interesting time growing up.
Yeah, it's a matter how times have changed there. So Nat's leaning into just obviously that one unfortunate moment you had in 2001 where you had your leg amputated. Riding to practice, right? Were you finishing? Were you just finished practice?
Yeah, so I was just finished training in the morning. We trained for an hour in the morning due to school.
Yes.
And that was at Newlands. And I went to school at Redham House in Takai. So, I was on my way there. And yeah, it was just one of those mornings that I was actually approaching the stop streets. I think many of the listeners will know Barristers Pub in Newlands.
Yes. So I'm familiar with it.
Right opposite Barristers is a Red Cross hospital.
Yes.
And with a massive parking lot. So a lot of cars used to take a shortcut through the parking lot. And yeah, this particular morning, a girl had taken a shortcut through a parking lot and I guess kind of did a roll stop. So it just pulled out and drove straight into my leg.
Amazing.
So it was just the brunt of the actual accident. Being the car actually knocking into my leg. I had a semi-automatic bike, so you sit with your legs on the side and change gears.
Yes. Okay.
And with that, I think it was first my leg and then the scooter.
Wow. Well, Natalie, I must. This is why we admire you so much. I mean, I remember I was qualifying for the USA for the World Cup to play rugby, and I got my arm shattered in injury time the game before the World Cup in 27 pieces, and it was so devastating for me. I'd never played again. I remember I was getting deported from the States. I ended up in Mexico packing men's toupees for a living, and I became a recluse, and I had to deal with some dark moments in my mind because as a little kid I was training. It was my whole dream to be in the World Cup, but however, you were back in the pool like 3 months later, and it's just so admirable that you did that. And it's that iron that you have inside of you that continued. I'm gonna lean into some of the accolades that you have achieved. What is it that just got you back in that pool again? And was it the love of swimming, or did you use your anger, energy? What did you do? It's just incredible.
I think as time has gone by, I've had a lot of time to think and obviously been asked the question a number of times.
Yeah, sure.
One goes back and thinks, what was it? I remember actually leaving the sport of swimming and starting my first job. And, I guess as jobs go, there's always the good moments, there's the bad moments. And asking a few mentors, like, what is it? How do I keep going? How do I, keep at this? And I remember one mentor saying to me, and it was actually Mr. Labner, Bertie Labner, and he said to me, Natalie, what is it about you that makes you you? And I really had to go away and think about it because I had absolutely no idea.
Sure.
Sport is a thing that you can get in and you can do it. And the better you do, the more you want to train, the harder you train, the better you do. And it's kind of like a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
As I said, many years later, I kind of look back and I realized that I think one of my strong points was, and a lot of people call it possibly living under a rock.
Sure.
But the ability to be able to switch off.
Yes.
And actually, kind of like shut things out.
Yes.
And throughout life, I kind of shut out a lot of things that I couldn't deal with at that point in time. So when I was ready to deal with it, I was able to deal with it. And so it was, I think, that moment where I had a lot of people supporting me. I had the physio, the doctor saying, get back into everything that you used to do as soon as possible in order to keep going. And with that, kind of that's what I did, get back to life. And that's how things started growing and progressing. There was a dream of going to the Olympics, but I had lost all my muscle. I was kind of like starting from the beginning again. And I think with that, it's kind of just go where it goes. But a lot of the time it is be able to switch off and having others that are positive that actually make you positive. And just getting in and doing it.
Sure. Well, as you say, I mean, you become a product of your environment. It's essential. You are who you drink coffee with, right? It's so essential to place yourself around that. But, but then you went on, and in like 2002 at the Manchester, you won the 50 and the 100 meters in record time. And then you made sporting history as the first athlete with disabilities by qualifying for the 800 meters freestyle. Incredible. Did you feel proud of yourself at that stage? What you had come through so much, and all of a sudden there was this huge light at the end of the tunnel. How were you feeling at that stage?
I think only once you reach the light at the end of the tunnel do you actually realize that you have a light at the end of the tunnel. Often it's very dark going through it, and I think. Yeah. If I take you back and maybe share a bit of an experience with you. So
please do.
I'm now disabled. I'm newly disabled. I have no idea what other disabilities are in my category. I believe I'm now an S9, so I've now had to drive all the way to Neisner to be classified, because one of the international classifiers was on holiday in Neisner. And I was going to be able to qualify for the Commonwealth Games. My times were good enough, and therefore to be classified, my times are good enough. Right, I'm going to Commonwealth Games. Have no idea who my competitors are, and I must admit I'm just training. I'm an absolute distance swimmer, so when it comes to sprints, literally, it's kind of like blink your eyes and you're on the other side. But I have absolutely no fast twitch fibers whatsoever. So, for example, it took me 0.94 seconds to react to the starting gun, whereas if you take someone like Roland Schumann, he reacts within a 0.46, I think.
Yeah,
so,
the blade. He's like, I think he is just a fast twitch muscle, full stop, isn't he?
Basically. So I had no idea how to race a 50 meter, how to race a 100 meter. I mean, the last time I did that, I was probably like 12 years old. And now I'm 18. So I think for me, that was the world that I was caught up in.
Yes,
I had no idea who, what, why, when.
Wow.
We were just going to swim. And, being there, getting the opportunity to compete disabled. I remember a few days leading up to the games, we were in Manchester and just training. We had a lot of the international coaches were standing on the side of the pool with their stopwatches, trying to time me for what I was doing. And it was all kind of this hype. And I was very, I think, my coach sort of kept me together and said to me, Natalie, just get up there and you're gonna swim your race. And I was able to take part in the 50 and the 100. Those were the only two disability races that were at the Commonwealth Games. And in those days, they were called multi-disabilities. So all the different categories actually raced against each other. So the person who won the gold medal was the person who was the closest to the world record, or broke the world record by the most.
Yes.
So it could have been the person who has no arms and no legs who came in last that broke the world record by the most and won the gold medal.
Yes. Oh, wow. So okay. So it wasn't a timing thing. That's incredible. I didn't even know that. Wow.
No. So it was really interesting. And obviously being thrown into this part, being first, disabled for the first time in my life, seeing disabilities that I don't think I've ever seen in my life before either. And then having the opportunity, because I hadn't actually qualified for the 800 meter freestyle, because I was there, South Africa said, well, give it a go. Let's see what you can do. And that was when I actually swam the heats of the 800 meter, the freestyle. And just by the times, my coach said to me, no, you'll be able to make the final. And thereafter,
and you made it. You made it. I mean, you broke history that day. And the most incredible thing, I mean, they even awarded you the David Dixon Award, right, for the most outstanding athlete of the games. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about that. Just knowing what you had been through until that stage, just absolutely incredible. But then in 2003, you won gold, silver, and bronze for the able-bodied in the Africa Games and the Afro-Asian Games. That same year, you were also nominated for the Laura Sports Awards person. I mean, it just carried on from a sporting career really rewarding you for your resilience, and it's almost like your adversity paved your way to gold somehow. Did you have that relationship to that as well?
I think I always say that awards are generally opportunities that people believe that you are worth. It is just something that throughout my career and throughout my life, I've been very fortunate that I have met the right people at the right times.
Yes.
Later on in your life, when you leave sport, you kind of feel like you're lost, and not everything is about the opportunities, or you don't know how to get opportunities or where to get them.
Yes.
And I think that's the journey that you go on. I was, again, growing up, I don't come from a very wealthy family. And so I actually attended schools on scholarships, and that's how I was able to go to school. And with that, you kind of realize that you have to be the best in order to get anywhere. If I wasn't the best in the IM or the butterfly, I wouldn't have traveled for Team South Africa. So, there were a number of tours that I couldn't go on because my parents couldn't afford it. And I think, from that, you learn what resilience is, which becomes a natural habit rather than actually something that I need to do. So I think it's kind of there a little naturally, having a few conversations with psychologists, they always say to me, but Natalie, not everybody can do that. I say, but surely they can.
That's true though. No. And the thing is, like, legends aren't born, right? They're created. And it's this adversity and this resilience that you have that you so admired. When you were at the Laureus Awards, you must have met some really cool stars in that. It must have been really a proud moment. Who did you meet there that really inspired you? You're like, whoa, this is like just a great moment.
So, my first those Laureus Awards, in particular, it was really interesting. So I, very much like in my swimming career, I swam every race in a competition because I didn't like sitting on the side of the pool having to wait for things.
Yes.
So ultimately, I kind of, at the Laureus Awards, I had a serviette that I kind of went round and was asking for signatures, and from the different athletes, from the people at the, and everybody's like, but Natalie, you shouldn't really be doing this because you're also a sports person.
You're also the star.
And actually the other day I came across the serviette with all these signatures.
Oh, did you? You still have it?
I still have it. It's got a bit of a mark on it, I think, from someone's dinner, but I think that all adds to it. But there's an individual that I did come across, and his name is Daley Thompson. And he used to take part in one of the, I think it's not heptathlon, it's the decathlon, or one of those, with the seven, I think it's 7 or 8 disciplines.
Grueling. When they jump over the hurdle into the water, and then it's this, and then it's that. Oh yeah, absolutely grueling. I feel sorry. All of that. Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I think just the gusto in which he lives life, and he gives back, and he's just an amazing person to talk to. Always happy, and nothing is too much trouble. No one is below, and so definitely he's one of the ambassadors for Laureus, and he does a lot of the projects for Laureus. So got to meet him a number of times, and just love the energy and the just
his
the
vibration,
way that he sees life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's incredible how people like that come across our lives, and they have such a big effect on us, and they don't even realize it. And I suppose there's a time when you didn't realize the effect you're having. Like, you're one of my heroes, right? And I suppose I don't even know if you knew that. Well, mind you, there's millions. You have millions of fans. But I just want to lean more into this, right? So, again, in 2008, you qualified for the Beijing Olympics, but this was more of your forte, I would imagine, because this was the 10-kilometer swim. And what I found astounding here, okay, because I enjoy long distance swimming, that you only finished, like, it was 5.1 seconds behind the first time. Is that correct?
I think somewhere around there. Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's amazing, especially over 10Ks, right? We know that people can pull away in 10 kilometers. So once again, that resilience is just incredible.
I think that was probably my worst ever swim in my career. So everything went wrong in that race on that day. But
You
maybe
wouldn't have
if I,
thought, you never wouldn't have thought with those times, right?
but maybe if I take you back to, I think the qualifications, which actually took place in Seville, in Spain, and
Yes.
I think being a disabled person, it was quite interesting because we have to dive off what we call a pontoon. So it's plastic containers all put together. And if you fall in the water beforehand, you're disqualified, very much like a pool swimming race. And with that, I think, it was a race in which our luggage was lost the night before. It was,
Oh my gosh.
thank goodness I had my suits and my gels and everything in my backpack. But the day we woke up, our bags arrived very early in the morning, and we got ready for the race, and we lined up. And at the end of the day, it's the small things that one worries about. Is my leg going to be at the finish? Who's going to take my leg at the start? And again, I was fortunate to have my manager and my team there that that looked after that, so that I could focus on
the actual swim. Yeah, incredible there.
And going from that then to finishing 4th in the world, to then in Beijing, I said that everything went wrong. We had the wrong logos on our caps, so I had to go and find a different
I actually
cap.
remember that. Yes.
Yeah,
Well, I heard the stories. It was published that was the case. I remember that. Yes.
Yeah, so we had to write numbers on the caps, and we had to then I started and I swam into the buoy, and my cap came off and my hair was everywhere, and I was trying not to lose the pack. And with that, I kept having to stop my hair, and then eventually it was so hot, and I was just so bothered that ultimately my goal was just to finish the race, that no matter what you start, you finish.
You finish, yeah. People don't really realize, like when you don't have those little details in place, it can really throw off your game. I'm very precise when I have to do something, like prep is king, right? And when one detail's out, you can get stuck in the thickness of something thin and it can destroy you. So I acknowledge you for not letting that happen. However, at the Beijing Games, right, you once again, you created history by carrying our South African flag with the disabled Olympic side and the abled Olympic team right in front there with the South African flag. Once again, I get goosebumps. I remember seeing that on TV. What's that feeling like? Like you are the poster girl of South Africa. That feeling right there walking around.
Yeah, again, maybe I could explain it in an experience, and going into the opening ceremony and getting prepared, realizing that our skirts were quite see-through, so we had 2 skirts on to try and stop that. And then worried about, am I going to trip?
Sure.
The flag is quite heavy when the wind blows and it's blowing it around.
Oh my gosh!
So those are all things that you thinking about.
Yes.
Then you've got to walk a certain distance in front of the team, not too fast, not too slow. So these are all the experiences that one experiences doing this, and you walk in the stadium and you really do get goosebumps. And then I actually had a streaker run for me. And with that,
you had a streaker yes. As in a naked person run for you.
Yes. So for the Olympic Games, you'll notice that South Africa...
Well planned.
So you will notice that South Africa was showed it was a very short snippet of Team South Africa walk out. And purely because someone actually ran out for me. And
oh, wow.
So the guys that were obviously on the floor and making sure that everything goes right, just jumped on the street. I can't remember if it was male or female, but jumped on them. And we carried on walking, like there was absolutely nothing wrong.
So you didn't have a sneak peek, eh?
Well, you kind of don't realize it until they're right on you.
Sure.
And then obviously, to carry it for the Paralympics. And again, it's not just that I carried it, but there's obviously people that give you the opportunity. And South Africa allowed me the opportunity to carry the flag at both the Olympics and Paralympics. So, for me, that also says a lot in terms of South Africa and where we come from as a country.
Yes.
And also, that everybody was supporting me, everybody was rooting for me. And that says a lot. And one always has to say thank you for that as well, knowing that people are behind you no matter where you are or what you're doing.
I just want to give you a virtual hug. Can I have one? There we go. You really are one of my heroes. I admire you. And are you still doing motivational speaking? Are you still a speaker?
So I kind of left the scene for a little bit and come back again. I think, finding my feet in terms of, excuse the pun, in terms of ultimately trying to find a job. And, motivational speaking is very, it needs to be positive, and it needs to come from a space where you know who you are, where you are,
for sure.
where you want to go, what you want to speak about. And I think I've taken a little while to get there, but slowly but surely finding my space and finding, I think, something that ultimately used to do what swimming did for me. So I found that thing that has taken that gap.
I must lean into that. I know that if your being isn't right, no matter what comes out of your mouth, it doesn't matter. And not only that, the audience can smell that. They know that. I've been in those situations when I first started, and they could feel that my being wasn't there. I fell off the horse many a times before I actually got up there, felt comfortable in my own skin, and then delivered. So I hear you, what you're saying. And obviously with COVID now, we haven't had many opportunities. So you're back on the circuit though, eh?
Yes, so I started to get back in. And obviously not just speaking on motivation, but also some of, what I've been up to the last few years, being social media communications, training, that type of thing. So ultimately, it's kind of a new space. And it's quite an interesting space because a lot of people see me as the swimmer. And they'll look at me and they say, but I haven't seen you on the TV lately. And I'd say, but I kind of retired in 2012.
I've retired. Exactly.
So
do you still swim? Do you still swim?
I kind of do the mid-mile every year. That's kind of what I do for the Teddy Bear Foundation. So again, for a charity. I don't train whatsoever, so I kind of just get in and swim with a massive teddy bear that lags behind me.
What do you have to drag this teddy bear behind you?
So we actually have a mascot, which is quite a big teddy bear that was actually sponsored to the Teddy Bear Foundation. So ultimately, it's like our marketing, I guess.
Yeah, sure. I love it. What a great idea. Yeah.
So we've got one of those Ziploc bags that it can float in. Although you have to kind of put a lot of air in there, and if you haven't put enough air, it becomes quite a drag. But it's all for the good cause.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
I don't mind it. I don't get too much time to actually train. My job is quite hectic, and then I also serve on 5 athletes commissions, of which one of them I chair, and I serve on a board. So so it's been a little busy in terms of what I do.
Natalie, I just want to say thank you for your time today. You continue to inspire me, and let's meet up for coffee when I'm in Johannesburg again, and let's connect. So from my side, be blessed, sending you lots of love and light, and thank you. I'm privileged and honored to have you on this podcast today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and good luck with the brand. I saw that on Facebook, so I hope you've chosen which one you want, and ultimately, best of luck. I think it is a new path. It's all about agility. It's all about, I think, moving forward. So thank you for the opportunity, and I wish you all the best with your journey as well.
Thank you so much. Namaste.
Catch new episodes of the Brett Shuttleworth Show for free right here on YouTube. You can also catch us on Spotify and iTunes. If you missed the last podcast with Jungle Joe, then check out this video. Don't miss out on our next episode. Like and subscribe and hit that notification button. I will see you on the other side. Namaste.